Hello everyone, and welcome to Waffle Flower Crafts. It's Shannon here, and in today's technique video I'll be showing you how to create your own border stamp using smaller stamps, and then we'll partially ink that border stamp up to create a ombre background. I'll be using these Waffle Flower products today. First up is the Wish stamp set. This just came out in our spring release. It's a very sweet spring or summer themed set. Love all the flowers, and the little boy and girl couldn't be cuter from that set. I'll also be using the Wish matching dies as well, and then I'll finish my card up using the nesting circles die. I'll use this to kind of cut out a window. So here's the card that we're creating today. You can see the beautiful ombre background that we create using our DIY border stamps which we create using smaller stamps from this Wish stamp set. And because of partial inking and using different shades of ink, we will create this ombre look. So I have an A2 panel here of 110-pound white cardstock. Before I stamp, I need to assemble my border stamp. I'm going to pull off several of the flower and leaf images from the Wish stamp set, and then I'm going to arrange them within a 1-inch parameter using my the grid here on my work surface or my work mat to kind of help me stay within that 1 inch. I'm trying to fill in most of the negative space using those smaller stamps. So first I position the larger flower stamps, and then I'll fill in the gaps with some of those smaller flowers or leaves. And once it's all arranged, it's about a little bit larger than 4 1/4, so you can go across an A2 top folding card base. So I am now putting a little piece of washi tape on the right side. This is just to help me remember which side I stamped previously. I want to flip the stamp each time I stamp. This way I don't have, it doesn't look repetitive. It kind of breaks the background up a little bit, and it doesn't look so repetitive. If I just were to stamp it the same direction every time repeatedly till I got all for the whole panel, the images would really repeat. So by flipping it, it'll really change it up, and you'll see me do that here. So I'm using several Waffle Flower inks. I'm starting with Happy Go Lucky, which is a beautiful purple color, and then I will use Daydreaming. I decided out of these two that the Happy Go Lucky, or the purple color, was a little bit lighter than this blue, so I am I'm inking my lightest color up first, and then I'll partially ink. I'm only inking up the top part, so I have my stamp pad angled with my darker shade. So I'll always be using 2 shades at a time, and I'll always ink up the entire border stamp with my lighter shade first, and do some partial inking by holding my stamp pad angled and then partially inking up half of the stamp with the darker shade. So now you see I've got it flipped. I'm going to now make sure my washi's on the left side, and I just double checking it here. I want to make sure that that lower portion, which I'll point it out here in just a second, right there, I want to make sure that that's my new shade that I'm introducing. So the new shade now is Safe Choice, which is like a cool pink. So I'm going to ink the whole stamp up with Safe Choice, because again I'm inking the stamp up with my lighter color first, and then I partially inked up the top portion with Happy Go Lucky, that purple color. And you can see now it's starting to build that ombre look. So again, now I'm ready for the next section. I've flipped my stamp around, so now my washi tape's on the right side. I'm going to make sure I ink up a portion of this stamp now with a new shade, and my new shade is a darker color, so I'm starting with my lighter shade first, which is Safe Choice here, which is the pink, and then I'm moving on to my darker shade, which is partially inking it, and the darker shade is Waffle Flower's My Pleasure, which is a beautiful red color, kind of like a corally red, really pretty. And continuing with the ombre. So now my new shade is kind of an orange, and that's a little bit lighter than the red, so I'm inking the whole thing up with the orange first, and then partially inking with the red. And my washi tape should be on the left side this time, see? And that way I'm just flipping this stamp around just so the stamped images aren't really repetitive. Kind of hides the fact that we used basically a border stamp to stamp this whole background. So this is my last strip that I have to stamp. My new color is a yellow. It is called You Said What, and now I'm partially inking with the orange color, which is Oh Happy Day. And this will be the last bit that I have to stamp. And now I'm done. My completed ombre background is all done. And I'll hold up to the camera so you can see. I basically used warm colors for this ombre look, but you could definitely use cooler colors like blues and greens. And I think this is great use of your tiny stamps, because a lot of stamps come with a lot of tiny or small stamps, and it's kind of like, well, what do I do with all these little stamps? Well, if you combine them together, you can kind of create your own border stamps and then stamp your own background. So I think that's a great way to use those little tiny stamps. So I'm just going to Copic color these images here, the girl and the dandelion, which I stamped in Memento Tuxedo Black, and then I also stamped some dandelion petals, I guess, or seeds, in Waffle Flower's You Said What. And I'm going to play some music here and meet you back when I'm almost done. So I'm back. I'm just about done here finishing up the stem here and leaves of the dandelion, and now I will hold up to the camera so you can kind of see the coloring, and then I will move on to die cutting the images out with the matching dies. So really just lining up the dies here using some of this purple tape by Thermal Web. Really great stuff for, it doesn't stick as much to your cardstock like painter's tape. I was using painter's tape mostly before, and this purple tape is a lot better. Okay, so got all the dies in place here, and now I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine and then just peel off the tape and pop out those images. And once I'm done with this, I will move on to die cutting my window from my ombre background. Just gonna hold the images up here so you can see all of them. Got the two yellow dandelions and the flower, and then the girl. So I have the nesting circles 2 die. I pulled off the 2 largest dies from that set, and I still have them attached. I haven't actually clipped them yet or wire cut the little little wire pieces in between these yet, so they're perfectly centered, and I'm just using purple tape to hold them perfectly centered in this on my panel. And as you can see here, it'll cut a frame and a center smaller circle. And to hold that frame in place, I don't want to actually pop that up. I just like the stitching detail and how it kind of centers your eye or draws your eye into the center. So I'm just gonna tape it flush to the panel. So I'm gonna line it back up so all the images that I stamped match, and then I'll just use some tape here just to kind of hold it in place. I'll eventually mount this on foam tape, so lift it up so I'll have a little dimension, and that'll even give it a stronger hold. But right now I'm just gonna use this tape to hold it in place, because the next thing I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment on that center circle. So I'm going to use my Misty for this just so I don't mess it up, and I'm going to use the whole panel here to kind of help me hold this circle in place. Instead of using magnets to hold the circle down, it's a little bit easier to use the actual panel, kind of holds the circle in place just like a puzzle piece. So now I'm arranging the girl and the dandelion just to kind of figure out where I want her to go, and that will help me figure out where the sentiment is. So I'm stamping Make a Wish, which comes in the wish stamp set, and I've actually snipped it right after the A just so it fits better in this circle. And I never am afraid of snipping or cutting my stamps, because I can always mount them on acrylic block or my Misty back together again, so I do it pretty fearlessly now. I'm going to ink this up with VersaFine Onyx Black and then just stamp it right there, kind of towards the right of my center circle. So now I will pull this out, and I'm ready to kind of put all the pieces together and really put my card together. So I have an A2 top folding card base, and I am going to add some foam tape to the back side of my panel. I could have easily used craft foam, but I was feeling kind of lazy here, and I just wanted to use something that was sticky already. This could have easily have been a shaker card. All I needed was to put a piece of acetate between the foam tape, and then fill the well up with shaker elements like glitter or sequins. But I just decided that was a little busy for this card. I kind of liked just the dimension. I felt like I didn't need anything else. So I'm adhering this down right to the card base, and then I will take the center circle, add some Tombow Mono multi-liquid adhesive here, center it, and then hold it down just for a second and pop that inside. Or pop that inside and then hold it down. And now I'm going to add some foam tape to the girl, just a couple places where she's going to hang on the panel and then off the panel. So those parts where she's hanging off the panel and in that window, I need to have some foam tape there just to support her. So just pulled the back off and stuck that in, and then I will just take a little bit of glue here and tuck that dandelion behind her. I'm going to lift up her ponytail here so it's looks like the dandelion is behind her, and then I will finish this up with those little dandelion, gosh, I don't know if they're called seeds or petals, and glue those right inside. And then this card is done. Kept it pretty simple because the border is the background is so colorful and a lot going on. So I really liked the contrast here of a simple colored image with that beautiful ombre background. And I'll grab my first card here that I showed you in the beginning, put them side by side. I hope you guys enjoyed my video today. If you want any information on the products I use, please visit waffleflower.com, and you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.